How's it going, people of the internet and my rabble of subscribers? Today is another response video to one of your questions about how my coworkers saw me when I first arrived in Japan, and also how I adjusted to life here. So starting with how my coworkers saw me, and I guess their opinions of me, honestly I don't really know, because it's just something common in Japan where people don't really tell you how they feel. I had a situation where one of my coworkers, he was like really nice and he was kind when he was around me, he'd laugh. It seemed like he liked me as a coworker, but it turned out that in reality he didn't like me at all. And I think that's just something you have to deal with here. Like, I guess they're not very honest with their feelings about you or different things, situations here in Japan. So it's just something that you have to get used to. So I can't really say honestly what people thought of me. I hope they thought nice things. One thing that was really obvious though that I noticed right away is that basically all of them were confused about my ethnicity or where I came from. Whenever they'd ask, like, where are you from? I'd tell them I'm from America, I'm from Arizona. They would all be surprised, I guess, because they seem to think that that's kind of common. A lot of the kids here too, like if you're not a white person, they don't really, the first thought that comes to their mind isn't America. I guess their image of Americans is like blonde white people. So whenever I tell them that I was from America, and I told them I was from America, but I'm a mix of different things. Like I'm a mix of Native American, Spanish, French, and Mexican. So that would always like blow their mind. They'd be like, whoa, that's amazing, or something. So they did seem confused about my ethnicity. So that's one way that I guess my coworkers saw me. I guess with a bit of confusion maybe. And maybe something that a lot of people experience here. I experienced it a lot when I first started working at my junior high school. Like among teachers and like students, especially the students. They all tell you how, like, I guess good looking you are or cool you are. And that was a really weird thing. I've never had people tell me like, oh, you're good looking, good job. Especially since I don't think I'm all that good looking, but that's something else that was really weird when I first came here. And as for adjusting to life in Japan, like outside of work, just my day-to-day stuff, I didn't really have any kind of like culture shock. I know a lot of people that move here, especially people that are on YouTube, eventually they'll post a video about, oh, the culture shock that I received once moving to Japan and I can't take it, or it's so difficult to get over. But I didn't ever experience any kind of culture shock. Like it all just sort of moved like really smoothly. I just started living life here and then I got used to it more and more. So I don't really have any big event where I was like, oh, this is a big change for me. And maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that I don't like adjust, or I don't change my habits to everything that like is expected in Japanese society. I only sort of take on like aspects of Japanese society that I think are useful or that I agree with. Like one example is like I notice that I thank people for everything, and I am also like sorry for everything. Like if you bump into someone or someone bumps into you, like both people say sorry. And I notice I do that a lot here, whether it's my fault or their fault. And that's like an example of something that I think is just nice to do, so I do it. But there also seems to be like this idea that if you move here, like you have to become Japanese, you have to do everything that Japanese people do. And I don't really agree with that. I don't think it makes sense here in Japan. And the big reason why I don't conform to everything that's expected of you here, and it's a really big issue for me, is that whether you conform to what Japanese people want you to do, or whether you keep like your social, cultural norms from wherever you come from, like it really doesn't seem to make any difference. Like if you try to be more Japanese, no matter how hard you try, the Japanese will always see you as like an outsider. You're never really in the group, whether you're like super Japanese or not. And it's something different from what I experienced in the US, coming from a family of immigrants. Even though I was born in the US, I still have a lot of experience of others who have moved to the US, and in those situations, like if you share the ideals of like American ideals, like what we believe in, freedom and just the ability to live your life and do whatever, like there's a clear movement towards like becoming an American. Like after a really short time you could start feeling like, oh, I'm part of the American group, we're all in it together. But here, like even if you start doing things to try and be more Japanese, you're always just the foreigner that knows about Japanese stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I don't try to conform too much unless I see reason behind it. And a lot of the things here don't really have any explanation as to why you have to do them. It's just you're supposed to do them, and I don't like doing that, so it's just maybe that made it easier for me to adjust to living here. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. It's not very detailed, I guess, and I guess the big reason is that, one, I don't really care too much what my coworkers think of me. I didn't care about it in the US, and I don't care about it here. I just try and do my best at whatever I'm doing, but I don't focus too much on whether or not people like me or their opinions of me. As long as I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm doing it well, I guess that's all that's important to me. And as for adjusting, obviously, I only adjust to things that make sense to me, so that also helped me to kind of just move over the whole culture shock thing that I never experienced. And that does it for this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that little ring-a-ding next to the subscribe button to get notified when I make new videos, which should be more often now. And feel free to follow me on Instagram to see some of my photos of Japan and my portraits and stuff like that. If you have any suggestions or questions for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comments or just let me know what you thought of this video. And I'll see you next time.